Okay, thank you everyone. Thank you for joining us this Friday, March 26th at 11 a.m. Eastern Time here in the United States. We continue our virtual forum series that began last May, which is hard to believe it's almost a year ago, as part of our response to the pandemic and a way to share the important and vital work of our project partners and international staff with friends and donors and community partners around the world. And today is the latest iteration of that weekly programming. This program will be available on Facebook for eternity, or as long as Facebook exists. Those of you that are on Zoom are welcome to chat into the function if you have questions or comments for today's presenter. And those of you on Facebook, I'll be monitoring, are able to do the same. Just type a comment there and we'll come to you towards the end of today's presentation. Just a reminder that next week is a holiday for many people of both the Jewish and Christian faith around the world, and we will not be gathering for a virtual forum next Friday, but we'll begin again the following Friday with the virtual forum again at 11 a.m. And a special welcome today to all the members of IPM's International Executive Board from Nepal to Brazil and Kenya and everywhere in between who are joining us for this forum today. Today we are thrilled to be hearing from the newest member of the IPM staff, Bindya Makwana, who will be speaking to us about her inspiring work with the Pochabhai Foundation, a long-standing partner of IPM. Many of you know Hemant Chawan and have visited with him and his family in Golana. Bindya works alongside them and accompanying Dalit children, women, and youth in their struggle for dignity and equity. She is the newest member of our team as a junior fellow who's bringing remarkable experience and depth to her work with our partners and friends in India. And I know that this is probably the first time she's doing an international Zoom presentation. Many of us have had the opportunity to enjoy being with her for Zoom conversations throughout the past year, but we're really looking forward to hearing from her today. And again, I would invite you to mute yourselves if you're on Zoom and to type in the chat function if you have any questions or comments, and on Facebook as well to type in any questions or comments you have, and we'll open those up for you at the conclusion of Bindya's presentation. So welcome, Bindya. Thank you for doing this. I'm sure it's going to be wonderful, and we're all really looking forward to hearing from you.
Thank you, Joe. Namaste, everyone. My name is Bindya Makwana, and I belong to a village named Gudel. I'm from India. And today I'll be sharing my story and our story, the women of Bhal. So I'm a 27-year-old woman and I stay in a village. I've recently joined IPM, but before this I've been working with Pochabhai Foundation for last 2 years. So today I'll be showing you some of the work which we are doing with Pochabhai Foundation and IPM. So on the screen, you can see two maps. First one is the map of India, and second is a map of Gujarat. And the arrow shows Gulf of Cambay, and Bhal region is nearly about there. So Pochabhai Foundation is based in Golana, which is near to Gulf of Cambay. The water and land both are saline here. So I would say that the main occupation of the people here is agriculture, labor. And can I have the next slide, please? Yeah, thank you. I'll briefly introduce myself. My name, village, as already told. I have completed my schooling from St. Xavier's School, Khambat. My parents are agriculture laborers, and my mom is a housewife. I speak English, Gujarati, and Hindi, all three languages. I belong to a Dalit family. If I have to introduce you what is Dalit, basically it is an oppressed group of India determined at birth and the social hierarchy one belongs to. Caste is something that in India, caste is something which comes with your birth. Like if I'm born in a Dalit family, then I'll be called a Dalit only. It will never change till I die. So I used to work in a non-profit sector before this. I worked in a service center for 2 years, and then I started my own tuition classes at home. After that, one day I was offered to work for remedial classes for an NGO. It was an offer from Potaway Foundation, and to be honest, I was not interested because I was doing well in the tuition classes. But then somehow it came up like they told me that you have to give only 2 hours, and then I thought, okay, let's try it. But after that, I started liking it because it was with children, and I like the children so much. So then I started working with them. I do the tuitions. After that, I started doing school visits, parents meeting, and all that. And that's how I became a part of Potaway Foundation. Uh, um, Working with Potaway Foundation, we had an International Women's Day in 2019, and all of a sudden I was handed over a paper saying that I have to anchor the program. It was my boss, and obviously I call him Mama. So he's Mr. Himmat Chauhan, whom I call Himmat Mama. And that day he just told me that today I have to do the anchoring of the whole program. It was a surprise and a shock at the same time. I did not know it will come up like this, but then I did it and it was done well. Fortunately, Mahesh Bhai was present at that day, and he noticed somebody, like a woman handling the program, especially the Women's Day for the first time. So then after that program, Himmat Bhai introduced me to him, and that's how I was introduced to IPM, and later on to Joe and the whole team. Next slide, please. So in my village, there are various castes like Dalits, Darbar, Rajput, Bharwad, Kodi Patel, Harijan. All the community people live here. But when we talk about India, there is too much discrimination patterns. Like if we go to housing facilities, if you enter a village in the beginning, like just just the way you enter it, there are only upper caste families staying in the front part of the village. Then how you enter and go to the end, Dalit communities are living at the end almost most of the time. Like and till today, you can find different wells and ponds according to the community. It's never like a Dalit cannot go to a upper caste well and fill up the water for drinking. If there are government schools, and government always announce that they do equality in all the things, but what I have learned from my experience, like I have been visiting the schools since last 2 years now, so they don't show you, but once you go there often and you realize that uh, if you are going for a weekday meal experience in the school, which they had to do last year, uh, here I want to mention what is midday meal. So midday meal is a scheme of government of India which provides nutritious food to the primary kids in school itself. They don't have to go to the home and it decreases the chances of malnutrition, as they say. So if you visit any of the government schools, then you'll see that no Dalit child will be allowed to serve the food. I was surprised. In the beginning, I was told that they do it because they can do it very well. Like the upper caste children do it because they do it every day and they're good at it. But later on, I realized that they call it, if a Dalit girl or boy will touch the food, then it will become impure and the upper caste children cannot eat it. It was shocking for me that in school we teach the children good values. Then there was a question mark that are we teaching this to our next generation? Discrimination from the very root point. Uh, Certain changes I have seen, because if I see my mother's generation, uh, 35 to 40% of women are illiterate, or who have learned, they have not completed the seventh grade even. One thing, there is a major change. Like if I see my generation, girls and women, then most of them, like 85 to 90% of them have completed their 12th grade, and most of them have completed their graduation too. So this credit I will try to mention here, that most of the my friends have completed their schooling from St. Xavier's, like mission school. So that is the major change the missionary has brought in the society. Next slide, please. Can I have the next slide? Now, I would like to introduce you to some of the work which we do at Coach Away Foundation. But before I do this, whenever we talk about Coach Away Foundation, like whether it is me or Himmat Bhai or any of the foundation, we all talk about Coach Away, on whose name we have uh, started the organization. But today, I want to tell you all that in Gujarati, we call a proverb that દરેક સફળ પુરુષની પાછળ એક સ્ત્રીનો હાથ હોય છે. It means that there is always a strong woman behind a successful man. So today I want you all to know that whatever Himmat Bhai or Potabhai Foundation works, Dani Man is the main person behind this. If she has not encouraged him or the family, then Potabhai Foundation does not exist without her. So today I would like to thank her. We'll see her photo in the next slide maybe. PF Potabhai Foundation works in 27 villages of Pal region in Gujarat. We have 20 Bal Sanskar Kendras. Bal Sanskar Kendra, if we try to translate it in English, it would be value education centers for children. We also do a farmer producers organization, which includes 1,550 women in it. Organic farming is also there. Then by now we have done the menstrual hygiene program. It includes like how to use the sanitary napkin and how to keep your personal hygiene, with almost 500 women by now. We are doing a Chakor Paltan project in Kheda district. Chakor Paltan is something like smart gang. It contains a group of 12 to 20 years children who are smart enough to fight for the right. We have around 119 savings groups in 27 villages of Pal region, which contains 1,200 women approximately. We are doing POXO training in different government schools. Next slide, please. Thank you. So here you can see a photograph of Dani Ben in the sari, who is lighting the candle there. She is the mother of Himmat Bhai and the lady behind all the success and foundation of Potabhai. She is inaugurating the South Asia Regional Conference, and in the right side, she was honored for her efforts by community on the right. Meenavan is doing that, and here I would like to mention Meenavan is our regional director's wife, Mahesh Bhai's wife, and I've always heard about her even, and I've heard a story that she was the one who had taken the charge to say that before you honor somebody else, she should be the first one to be honored. Next slide, please. So as I told you that we learn a Bal Sanskar Kendra or value education centers for children. Here is a group of our teachers. Now, when I say teachers, we don't use this term actually in our organization. We call them Bal Mitra. And Bal Mitra, if I want to translate, it would be a friend of child. That teachers are there in the school. Government school also provide teachers. Kids go there, but they have that fear in mind that teacher will scold them if their answer is wrong. We don't want to create that impression in children's mind. We just want them to be our friend and learn efficiently. So here is a group of my teacher friends also. I am also one of them. So starting from the left, there is Sonal Ben, then Anita, then Tara, Hina, Sonal Ben, Premila Ben, Daksha Ben, Leela Ben, Pooja Ben, then it's me, and at the last, Jignesh Bhai is there. And just beside him, there is Himmat Bhai announcing the we were getting honored on International Women's Day on 8th March 2021, 2020, sorry, not 21. Uh, so here I want to mention one thing that we have 19 teachers in our group, out of which 17 are women. So basically, our purpose is to bring women in front line, and they can survive their lives by earning for themselves, which can help them to be independent too. And with my experience, I can say that women can always do better teaching than men. I can be wrong in some way. It is possible, but as far I have visited all the centers and I work with them, I believe that if you tell them something, they take it very sensitively and act on it so well. Next slide, please. Okay, so again, this is National Convention of Dalit Women Human Rights Defenders. 8 of us are attending it. It was on January 17 and 18, 2020. Here, we had around 40 women who were sharing their story of bravery. And most of them were rape victims, like, or maybe discrimination of caste. And we learned a lot, like, they shared their personal stories. There were moments when we felt so sensitive, like we were sad, we cried together. It was something that you don't realize even. I was there by the time I had completed my 1 year in nonprofit sector, and I was like, okay, people say that this happens, that happens, but when you listen from the victim's mouth, it is really unbearable. Sometimes you feel like crying. I actually cried during the convention. There were ladies who were sharing that they were raped by 7 or 8 people, and they were standing and sharing their stories. So at that moment, I felt like I have tolerated nothing in my life. I can I can survive with whatever problems I have in life. Next slide, please. Okay, so this is a photo of women's farmers producers organization. Tara and I are attending a meeting in Fatehpura village. Pochabai Foundation generally work with Dalit society, but this is the first village where we are working with Kodi Patel community. Uh, for like for last 20 minutes, I have been talking upper caste and lower caste. So Kodi Patel basically, people say that it is an upper caste community. But when we went there, the financial situation is even worse there. So our director decided to work with them. And this is the first village where I did not feel discrimination by the women. They were so comfortable sitting with us, talking with us, sharing their tea or like their houses even. Because if you go to any other place, they will upper caste will not allow you to enter the house just because you are Dalit. They feel that you are worse than the dogs. Sorry, I'm saying this on this platform, but I have seen people, like if any upper caste community people have visited our place for some work, then they'll go home and dip their toe in the vessel kept out for drinking the water for dogs. They feel that we are worse than them, so they have to get purified by touching their toe in that vessel. Next slide, please. Okay, so this is one of the organic farming training which was organized for farmer producer organizations, and it was organized by Regional Council of Organic Farming. There is an officer, Dr. Srinivas Murthy, who was teaching all the women how to make Panchagavya and organic farming fertilizer, especially. So the women can learn this and go and apply that in their farms to get better products. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Thank you. So whoever knows Behavioral Science Center, they had worked on cooperatives in Bhal region, but for past few years they were inactive and the land could be taken back from the government. So with the help of horticulture department, we have Pochabay Foundation has been trying to reactive the cooperatives, and you can see Himmat Bhai there with some ladies in the farm. They are trying to plant the rosa plant and palm trees in the farm to decrease the salinity of the land. Next slide, please. Okay. So in the first picture, you can see Madhuben. She's from Rohini and she's making amla candy and juice. Amla is gooseberry, if I'm not mistaken. So there is a savings group in the village Rohini, and they are making this with the help of Madhuben. The whole group is earning some money from this selling this product too. This was again given by the help of government, which was also helped by Pochabay Foundation to get this, like documentation and everything was done by Pochabay Foundation. But then again, the women are, I think we have some other pictures too. Can we see them? Okay, yes, thank you. So in the first one, they are cutting the amlas, and second one, they are getting the juice out of it. Next slide, please. Okay. So maybe this is one of my favorite works. Okay. So here is a POCSO training going on in a government school of Mithili. So POCSO is Protection of Child from Sexual Offences Act. This act was passed in 2012 in India. There are certain legal provisions, but what we want to do is, like, make the children aware about it, how they can use it, or like that. So when I personally or any of my team go to do this training, we generally show them a cartoon movie. We do it in government schools and sometimes with a smaller group like 10 or 11 kids. So first we show them a cartoon movie named Komal, and after that we ask them some questions, like very good ones. What was the name of the child? What was she doing? How did the uncle tempted him for ice cream and then did the wrong thing with her? So first of all, it takes time for you to get involved with children. Children are not that easily telling you their secrets or their problems. So first we have to be like them. We have to convince them that we are their friends. They can share their problems with us, and then we also notice them when they are watching the movie. So it happens sometimes, like there is a scene in the movie that the neighbor of the child sexually harasses her. So at the particular point of time, some girls or some boys even, they are crying, because it happens that sometimes they had faced this thing but they are not able to tell anybody. So we notice that, and after the session is done, and all the children, we teach them something, and after the session is over, we call the ones who were crying or were sad and try to know what has happened to them. So after the movie and discussion is over, we teach them 4 basic rules, that if anything happens with them, if somebody touches them badly, or on their private parts, what do they have to do? So first thing is they have to say no to them. If they don't listen, then they have to shout and run away from the place. And next, they have to go to the parent or teacher and tell them that this guy or woman has done something wrong to me. Even if like sometimes it happens that we don't take it seriously that they are kids and saying anything, and we don't pay attention, then we ask them to tell them until the parent or the teacher listens to them. And at the last point of time, like if nobody listens to them and they are seeking for help, then we ask them to call on 1098 number, which is the number of child line, and where they can get the help. Next slide, please. So this POXO training we have done in like 20 schools till date, and our team has included around 900 children in this training. Along with all this, we are also doing fun activities with kids in our classes, such as dance, painting, cultural programs, craft work, Leaf College. Leaf College is something that children make a pattern or some design with the use of dried leaves or flowers. Next slide, please. Okay. So I'm in Golana Center, Bal Sanskar Center, and we were dancing on a song, Ek Kabutar Chandwa Avyu. So this is a fun song to teach the numbers, Gujarati numbers to kids. Like when we say Ek Kabutar, it's number 1, then De Kabutar, so it's number 2. That way we can teach them numbers with the song, so that they don't need to memorize without effort. Next slide, please. This is a Jat tribe community in Kubo village. They stay around 12 kilometers away from Golana. It's almost a farm area, and though they don't have proper housing facilities, they have just made straw housing with the use of sticks and dry grass. So there are total 5 kids there, and they have never been to school. There are 3 women sitting on the floor. They are first one of them is Amina, and she's 17 years old. She wanted to go to school, but her father could not afford it. So afford in a way that they don't understand Gujarati, and they are very insecure of sending them to the government schools, because once they were asked to empty the place where they are staying, they even threaten them that they will burn their residence also. So they are so insecure, and they never send their children to school. So it was very difficult for us to teach them. But then again, there was a potential to learn it, so we could finally do that. In the first picture, you can see Amina and Isha. They were learning color wheel, and in the second photograph, they were learning the numbers. There are 3 children sitting beside me. That's Amina, Aman, and Fatima. Next slide, please. Okay. So in this picture, I was showing them a rhyme called Cycle Mari Sararajai, and guys, they were singing with the song, and in a day or 2 they could memorize the whole song. And whenever we used to reach the place, they were singing at us, waving, saying hi, and then again starting the song Cycle Mari Sararajai. So it's amazing to teach them. They don't know anything, not even alphabet or numerics of Gujarati. Their native language is Sindhi, but when you reach them, they are so good at it. I mean, they help you to learn. Even their parents help us to be friendly with the children, but it takes time. Like till 2 months, we could not teach them even first alphabet of Gujarati. Next slide, please. Okay, so this photo is before I joined IPM or Putaway Foundation. Uh, this is a picture of Bal Melo. Bal Melo is a fun fair organized for the children of all the centers we work in. So here you can see Peter Mayer singing songs for the children of Pal region. He had visited one of the Bal Melos, maybe this is in Mitli, and he had sung songs for the children. Peter Mayer is the son of our founder member. Next slide, please. Okay, so here you can see in the first photograph. In the first photograph, you can see two girls standing over there. They have made a house, and that is made of cardboard. If you can make out, they had used some sticks and cardboard to make beautiful house. And again, in the second and third photos, two girls are standing with the decoration item, which we can hang in front in the entrance of our house. First, second one is made of the tea cups, which are already used and which can be thrown in the dustbin. But instead of doing that, they have made a beautiful hanging craft. And the second one is made of, if anyone most of you have seen Parveen and the Hum group making kites. So at the end of the kites, there are some hanging decorations. But after the kite is thrown out, we generally throw them out. But these kids have beautifully designed them in a hanging decoration. Thank you. Next slide. Okay. So again, this is in Navagam Vanta, and we had celebrated Christmas with them. You can see the beautiful girl in the beginning with the pink frock. She's the child of our teacher, Sonal Ben, and her name is Mosam. I think in the first VIP, we have also seen a dance from her. Okay, next slide, please. During the lockdown, we could not call children to teach them because of social distancing rules and all. So we tried to do a different thing with them. And to do that, we had planned to do kitchen gardens and tree plantation with them. So in the first picture, you can see Sonal Ben. She's from Navagam Vata and she's plucking the vegetables from her garden. In the second pictures, in second two pictures, I am planting the trees with two of my kids. They are Pari and Vihan. Next slide, please. Okay. So again, here is Madhuben and Nirbadaben. They are doing organic farming. Now, if you visit any of the Bhal region, most of the farmers are using chemical fertilizers, which are spoiling their land. But she has taken the chance to grow organic products and sell them in the market. Now, here I would like to share a story that last year, in past 2 years, she has never used chemical fertilizer in her farm, and the product of her farm were sold to the teachers, government teachers, who were interested in buying the non-chemical products like rice and wheat. Next slide, please. Okay. So again, there were some ladies working in the farm. Next slide. Okay. So in all our Bal Sansar Kendras, we celebrate Diwali and Christmas, both the festivals, to make them aware that all the religions are same and equal. So in the first one, you can see Dakshavan in yellow dress, and three children are playing spoon and marble game. In the second one, the kids are playing frog jumping, and we generally do all the games during Diwali, and whoever wins gets the prize. Next slide, please. Okay. So in all the centers, we generally do drawing and painting on Saturdays. So in the very first picture, you can see Sachin, and he has made a beautiful picture of peacock. In the second one, Smita has made a picture of rose and parrot. And in the last picture, Leela Ben, the teacher of Cactus Center, is teaching the children how to make a boat out of paper. Next slide, please. Okay, so again, here we were celebrating Christmas, and three girls of Padra village were singing a Christmas song in this celebration. You can see the villagers also there, and the children in the beautiful, colorful dresses. Next slide, please. Okay, so this is the picture of International Women's Day 2020, and we had around 1,200 women in the program, and here are the three girls performing a prayer dance in front of them. Next slide, please. Okay. As some of you know, there was a case in India, actually a rape case on a Dalit woman in Hathras. So in my village, I did a protest rally. And so in just like that, in all the villages, all the 27 villages, the teachers and the farmer producer organization leaders, all of them had done protest rally at the same time at 6 p.m. in the evening. Next slide, please. Okay, so after explaining and sharing all my work with Put Away Foundation, here I want to say something about my work as a fellow and associate of IPM. So this is a screenshot of a picture where I was having a practice session of POXO training with Hum Group and with Arvind Ben and two of the ladies. We actually discussed how we can train the children about POXO Act and how we can teach them what is good touch and what is bad touch. I generally don't do such trainings. Till now, I think I have done 3 of them. We might be doing some more this year. I also learned from Mahesh Bhai and Joe about experiential learning methods, gender and socio-economic analysis, advocacy and organization development methods. And in the beginning of my fellowship, I've also conducted and participated in COVID research with Alisa. In future, I want to support other women in having an empowered and kinder life. Thank you very much.
That was excellent, India, and I'm sorry I had to excuse myself for a minute. Some of you know I've been a little under the weather the last 2 days. I just wanted to give Mahesh an opportunity if he wanted to add anything here. I know that he's been really working hand in hand with you in many of these areas, and I just want to make sure he has a chance to add in anything. He's already been chatting with me directly. But
No, I think I just like to say that it's been a wonderful opportunity to have worked with Himat, and Himat and I have been always looking out for people that we can. Is there an echo? Sorry, excuse me.
Mahesh, now we don't hear you at all.
Yeah, so I was just saying that it was a wonderful opportunity to identify somebody with a passion for the kind of work we do. We have been searching in India for a very long time, and Joe knows right from the beginning. We have had different people working with us, and Sister Priscilla also a couple of years ago. And the main thing is, I think, identifying indigenous leaders and supporting them. And this would not have been possible without Himmat and Puchabai Foundation. So even though I met Bindya around 2 years ago, Himmat has really sort of thrown the gauntlet at her and challenged her to handle stuff. And it's not an easy job to emerge out of your own personal struggles and work in a professional context and to achieve more. I think what you see is what you have heard her over the last year, her work, her achievements, they speak for themselves. I don't think I have anything to add to it. Just to say that we are all very glad to have her on our team. And we look forward to more interactions with her and more trainings. And I think networking is a key aspect of our future, and somewhere technology has made it possible. But we should be having more physical interactions with various groups, more trainings. And I think the best part of it is that she speaks not one, but she speaks 3 languages. And I think she understands cross-cultural, she has a cross-cultural understanding, and that helps too. She's able to speak to people from different faith backgrounds, which is also an additional qualification. For a young person to be able to do all this is a sign of hope for the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Mahesh, and thank you for everyone. Oh, I'm sorry, Benny. For all of those joining us on Facebook, there are a number of people commenting on that feed. And thank you for those of you. I'm just looking through the Zoom chat. It looks like they're mostly comments, Bindi, if you can't see them, thanking you for the excellent presentation, the ongoing work, and acknowledging the important role that Himmat and Mahesh play working alongside you. I'd like to open it up if anyone has any questions they would like to ask or direct directly to Bindia or anyone else at this time.
Bindia, I just want to add, as a colleague here in the US, how much you continue to inspire me with your commitment and your enthusiasm. Every time I see and hear you, you exude solidarity, which I think is so important and needed, particularly with the Dalit community and those that are marginalized and oppressed. And so we're just so grateful that you are part of our team. And I was also struck by the impact that our International Fellows Program really has had in terms of growth. I mean, we started that program with Himmat, and Himmat has been just remarkable in his role and his leadership and his mentorship. And we see how this rippling effect of empowering and engaging leadership makes such a big difference and a positive change in this world. Himmat, I was very happy to learn of your Himmat Mama name. I will refer to you by that name now. But we are so grateful, Bindia, for your work, and Himmat for your work, and Mahesh for your coordination of all the wonderful work that is being done, not only in India, but in Nepal, through Sony and Fumati, and all of our other project partners. So thank you, Bindia, again for sharing today.
Thank you so much, Elsa.
Anyone else? Himmat, would you like to add anything? Your name has been referenced a few times.
No. Thank you, Mahesh Bhai, because I talked to Mahesh Bhai and he's really choose
Okay.
Hello.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. So I think I'm happy, and Bindia is doing good job in Pochabai Foundation and in IPM also. So I think in last few years, myself and Mahesh Bhai both, we are trying to get good leaders, women's leaders, and finally we got. So thanks gods, thanks IPM also, especially Joe and all other. So uh, we request to Mahesh Bhai and IPM, they give this good opportunity to Bindia, and I think we pray for God, and she doing good work in our area and our region. So thank you, Joe and IPM.
Well, thank you, Hemant. As Ilse said so well, your role as a fellow, as the inaugural fellow, was really the inspiration for all this. And I know that, you knew and identified India, I think, and brought her to Mahesh and others' attention. So we're very grateful for the support you've provided her, and for the way you've connected her with the IPM family. Many times that's how the international staff have come to us, through former partners or current partners and other colleagues and collaborators that people know. So it's good to see you with your spouse there. And yeah, it's wonderful to see the good work that's happening. And I have to say, I mean, those of you who have traveled with me to India, particularly to Golana, one of the most difficult places probably that IPM works anywhere in the world. And you can read more about the history of Dalits and their ongoing struggles in India. I'm sure Vicky would be happy to share some of the background information that we use for the virtual immersion experience, particularly for board members who are interested in learning more. And we hopefully will have another open virtual immersion experience to India in the coming year. And certainly join us in traveling there. Of all the places we work in the world, it looks like India may actually open up before everywhere else, given the way that they're rolling the vaccine out. So we may actually be doing an immersion to India before we ever are able to go back to El Salvador or Nicaragua, for example, which is in many ways is quite shocking, but really good news that might even be able to happen this year. Sony is also thanking you, Bindia, for sharing your work with the society there and with the community. It's a similar problem in Nepal, she says. And we know that many of the problems, particularly related to the treatment of the Dalit community, folks who don't even fit that structure because of their religion, and so they're even lower, if you will, in the caste structure than Hindu Dalits, but also what happens in particular to children and women in relation to slavery and sexual exploitation. Any other questions or comments from anyone?
Yeah, I just wanted to add a comment, Joe, that just now recently we completed the virtual immersion program to India, and I spoke about India from the early 1947 to 2012. And at some point of time, we also spoke about the role of the church and about mission schools, especially in the 70s and 80s. And Father Heredero, unfortunately, he couldn't join us. I think his role in this whole change, somewhere Hemant and Bindia and all of us are products of that system, of that learning, of that educational system, which spoke about Paulo Freire, about liberation theology. And that has played a very important role in some of the changes that you're seeing here today in the region of Bhag and in many other parts of India too. This is not to deny the efforts of various other non-religious groups also who try to bring about change for the rights of Dalits, but it has certainly played a very important role. And as IPM, as Mahesh, and as all of us who are part of this journey, I think I'm extremely proud that we're able to put the last first, in the sense that real people are telling their own stories, unlike what has happened in the past. So I think one of the key successes of our work is letting people emerge, tell their stories, share their strengths, their joys, their sorrows. But it's authentic because it's their voice, it's their own voice, and not ours, which is speaking on behalf of them. So they speak their own stories, and I think that's a very important part of the work we are doing here. And so this is an outcome of many years of struggle, of processes that happen at the larger level, at the micro level. It also happens because we all come together on this across countries, across race, across caste. All of us come together with a particular vision. I think more than a vision, it's a calling, and I really haven't found the right word for it, but it's a calling, it's a connection that is constantly seeking, constantly striving to create a better world. And I think all that we do is an outcome of that process. Thank you.
Thank you, Mahesh. We've talked, for those of you who weren't part of the most recent virtual immersion, we reminded folks of the really powerful writing of Arundhati Roy. If you don't know her, she's very accessible in English and has written powerfully about some of the issues that Bindia addressed, often in a fictional format. There's also a series of films I mentioned in the last forum entitled Water, Fire, and Earth. Those are three separate, it's a trilogy. And if you haven't seen those, particularly Water addresses directly some of what Bindia alluded to today. There are probably other resources I know there are that we could make available through the Google Classroom that Mahesh and Vicky are aware of. There are a couple of other comments here. Just acknowledging again, Vicky's acknowledging again, Bindia, your work. And I think we're all glad, really glad to have you as part of the IPM family. I'm just looking, it looks like Dorothy is still at the hospital. But are there any other comments from anyone before we sign off today? Anything else, Bindia, you would like to add at this time?
Yes, I would like to add something. Actually, you all appreciate me now, but I can't forget one fact that you could not find me or get me into IPM unless Himadbhai would have not recommended my name for that. So thank you so much. At least today I can say this in front of you all. And after that, thank you Mahesh Bhai and Joe for giving me this chance to work with you all. Wonderful people and done so much. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Bindia, and thank you again, everyone. Vicky and I and others are working on an additional thematically based virtual immersion experience forum related to gender equity and many of the kinds of issues that Bindia addressed. So we're looking forward to being able to present that as an opportunity for folks to have a virtual immersion experience with IPM as all of us around the world continue in our own way to struggle with the challenges of the ongoing pandemic and work against the kind of injustice that is rooted in caste and ethnic division, tribalism, colorism, racism, and alike. Again, I want to thank you all for taking the opportunity this Friday, March 26th. It's late in the evening for our partners and friends in India and Nepal. It'll be a good thing for us to wind down now, but thank you all again for taking the time to be with us today. For those of you who are celebrating Passover and Easter, we hope and pray that you will enjoy that important sacred time with your families and your communities, particularly Semana Santa, as it's known in so much of Latin America and the Caribbean. And we'll look forward to gathering with you again 2 Fridays from now, if you could mark that down, at 11 o'clock on Tuesday, April 9th. And we'll look forward particularly to hear from our new International Executive Board co-chair, Xenia Chavez, about her important work in Nicaragua, I believe on April 26th. So everyone have a great weekend, and may the peace that passes understanding be with you throughout this time. And namaste, Bindia.
Bye.